I wrote this one in support of a mom who was struggling to raise her neurodiverse child, but also struggling with her parent who was judging the way she was parenting her ADHD child. So, this is the letter to my parent who thinks I'm too soft with my ADHD neurodiverse kid. The science they didn't have a letter across generations. If this came to you from your child who is struggling to raise a neurodiverse child and wants you to hear this message, I hope that you can just hold some space and stay curious and open minded, at least until the end. Dear parent who is judging the way I parent my own child, I know what you see. You see a child shouting. You hear the swearing. You watch the door slam. You observe disrespect and defiance. You think, if that were my kid, you think I've lost control. You think I'm being manipulated. You think I'm letting him get away with bad behavior. You see a child who is misbehaving. I see a tender child experiencing nervous system overload. What we parents know now that parents didn't know before. Over the past few decades, modern neuroscience has reshaped how we see child development, especially impulse control and emotional regulation. The parts of the brain that manage those skills develop slowly and unevenly. For neurodivergent kids like mine, that gap can be bigger, take longer, and the stress response can be louder. Right now, he has a Ferrari brain with bicycle brakes. Thank you, Ned Hallowell, for that analogy. His feelings get big before he has words. His whole body reads danger even when he's safe. And when he tips over, his still developing brain doesn't have access to reason. Researchers have reframed neurodiversities like ADHD not as a character flaw or a discipline problem, but as a developmental difference. I am not excusing the behavior. I am explaining it because explanation changes the intervention. ADHD experts warn us that meeting fear with more fear or shame with more shame strengthens the very patterns we're trying to eliminate. So we move away from outdated parenting strategies that relied on dominance, shame, or swift punishment to achieve short term compliance. And you're going to ask, but how will he learn that it isn't acceptable? I know this is the question underneath all of it. If I don't punish him immediately, if I don't shame the behavior, if I don't make it hurt, how will my child know that aggression, disrespect, and defiance are wrong? Punishing him in that state doesn't teach him the behavior is unacceptable. It teaches him that when he's overwhelmed, the people who love him the most will add more pain to an already unbearable feeling. And that doesn't stop the behavior, it buries it or escalates it. Compliance is efficient. I agree. It ends the behavior in the moment, but efficiency is not the same as growth. Here's what I've learned. He will learn, just not in the escalated moment in the way that you think he will. When my child is in the middle of a meltdown, when his nervous system is flooded, when he's hitting or screaming or saying cruel things, that is not a teachable moment. That is a moment of complete dysregulation. His brain is in survival mode. And what he needs in that moment, in order to build self-control later, is compassion and co-regulation. Because the capacity that we want, impulse control, perspective taking, accountability, doesn't grow under threat. It grows when the body feels safe enough to come back online. You cannot teach a brain that thinks it's under attack, but you can lend it yours until it finds its own. Regulation first, skill building second. What I have learned to do when things escalate, I'm not debating. I'm not negotiating values. I'm not delivering consequences. I'm keeping everyone safe. I'm reducing input with fewer words and less noise. I'm getting space. I'm not adding threat to a system that's already flooded, because a flooded brain doesn't learn, it defends. The learning happens later when his system has calmed down enough that he can actually hear me. That's when I'll say, hey, earlier you hit. It's never okay to hit someone. I understand you were upset, and we need another way for you to tell me you're overwhelmed next time. We recover, then we repair. We name what happened, then we practice. We build the next step. Consequences still happen. He helps fix what he breaks, he repairs what he hurts, but they're designed to teach, not to punish. I am not letting it slide. I'm choosing timing. This is not passive parenting. This is not giving up, and this is not soft. It is deliberate, and it is humbling. The part you don't see, you're seeing a snapshot, a hard moment. You're not seeing the work between the moments. Progress doesn't always look like no meltdowns. Sometimes it looks like shorter storms, faster repair, a 2-second pause, a request for space, a return with a softer voice. And this takes time. It's slower than punishment, but I am parenting for the long game. I know it's hard to watch the meltdowns and the inappropriate language and feel like nothing is being done. But instead of being critical, maybe you could just be curious. Instead of judging, ask, hey, why did you choose that response? I'm curious what you're seeing that I might not be. Instead of sighing, study. What are you learning about his brain? Is there something I could read to understand this better? Instead of criticizing, get inquisitive. Hey, what's going on under the surface here? What does he need right now? Instead of assuming, ask how to help. Hey, what would actually support you in this moment or after? Curiosity builds bridges. Assumptions create distance. I'm not raising a compliant child. I'm raising a self-aware, intrinsically motivated, self-regulated one. And that takes time. There is a difference. I know this draws judgment, but I am no longer parenting for the audience. I am parenting for the adult this child will become, and I welcome the support. Thank you so much for listening. With gratitude.